it returns either true or false.
Yeah. So it's like, so it will be that the end function would be like the true or false. So all these true false categories can be represented by this tree thing. So I'll show a tree. Okay, so this is a tree. Basically, this is how the tree is. Okay, so the last outcomes we chose as child nodes, leaf nodes, all this we used to be giving different nodes. So I'll come to that tree part. Okay, so here, I mean, today I'm not going for any implementation because you have some terminologies that you have to keep it in mind. Okay, so we'll just go with the terminologies one by one, and then you check it out. Okay, I mean, you get into deeper with all those things. Okay, so that you will have a clear understanding. So I am going with the very very basic level. Okay, so considering the like so many of the terminologies will be like already heard by the computer science students, electronics students, and telecommunication students. All these people would have already heard. Okay, but then other group of students, no, so those who are either in PUC, I don't know which category all of you are falling into, PUC or some other groups, they wouldn't have heard about most of the terms. So I am going with a very basic level of teaching, a very very basic level, such that you will take something, such that you can remember something. Okay, so now, I mean, I don't know what sir have uploaded in the YouTube, but you can check it out for some deeper insights. So like once you hear all these stuffs, you will have some idea with you. Okay, so then you can go and check it, so you will get more idea. Okay, so and also when you Google it also, you will have more idea of what it is done. Okay, so I am going with a very very basic level. Okay, so now, I mean, if you want to get into deeper, you can just mail me. Okay, I have already sent you the mail ID, so you can just send me the mail ID with the topics you want. So I will find out the time, and then I will clear about all those things separately. Okay, so this part, whatever I'm teaching, is considering the whole set of group, and I am considering the very basic level, such that something will go into your mind. Okay, so now here in decision trees, there are three. No, I mean not three. There are notably three. The most important is three types of algorithms we use in decision tree. One is the iterative dichotomizer. Next is C4.5, and next is this CART. Okay, so this iterative dichotomizer. So dichotomizing, I mean, you would have studied in the botany and all, biology you would have studied. It's like the dichotomizing is like dividing into parts. Okay, so here this algorithm uses information given to decide which attribute is used to classify the current subset of the data. Okay, this information gain, I will explain you what it is. Okay, so now here we are using the information gain to decide which attribute. So it's like the split. Okay, so the tree from the node, it is splitting, right? It's branches are there, right? It's splitting, right? So for this splitting, you require a calculated amount. Okay, so you require quantity. Okay, in which level, how you have to split. So for that, we use the information gain as a thing which define the splitting, or which defines which attribute to use to classify. Okay, so so this is the first thing. Okay, next comes the C4.5. This is the successor of this ID3, that is the iterative dichotomizer. This one, this is the successor of ID3. Okay, that means it's improved form. Okay, it's like it uses ID3 with this. Okay, so this algorithm uses information gain or gain ratio to decide upon classifying attribute. Okay, so here it uses, depending upon whatever values it just uses the information gains or the gain ratio. Okay, so direct improvement from ID3 algorithm, as it can handle both continuous and missing attribute values. So here the good advantage of thing is it can be used even if there are missing attribute values. Okay, so this can be used when the attributes are missing also, you can use it. Okay, so that is about C4.5. So next is CART. So this is a dynamic learning algorithm which can produce a regression tree as well as a classification tree depending upon the dependent variable. So this is used when there is a regression and the classification. This cart is used. Okay, this algorithm is used. These are the three algorithms mainly used in the decision trees. Okay, so now next is okay. So now anyone have any idea about information theory? Any electronic students are here? Any electronic students, telecommunication students, computer science students? No, nobody. Okay, so I mean, or so usually when the telecommunication and electronics and communication and all, right, and CSIT and all, we used to have all this in the second year or third year. So information theory, in simple words, if I say now, now it's like so we have actually now that there is a scientist called Shannon. From him only all this theory was developed. He was the first one who gave the foundation for all these things. So now this information theory is like giving some measurement for the information. Okay, so how much information is there, they will give the information. So it all started with like so now if I have a thing like ca jump on able. So when I'm giving a sentence like this, can you guess what would be the sentence? Anybody? Now I'm just saying CAJUM on TAB, something like that. Anybody can guess what is the sentence I am trying to say? Just write it in something and just try to tell what is the sentence I'm trying to say.
Cat jump on table.
Yeah, same thing. So what I'm trying to say is, even if I'm missing some of the letters, with the letters some and including some letters, I am able to produce the exact information I want to deliver to you, right? So this is what the basis of this. So no, I need not put all the information to you to give a I mean to for you to understand what's the information I am giving. Okay, with this or with the information, I mean with the very why I'm cutting off all this thing is that because we can't it's like we have to minimize the maximum the data. Okay, minimize the data how much ever possible. We have to minimize the data for an efficient transmission or transformation. For any kind of thing, we have to minimize as much as possible. So this these kind of in information theory, so the all these studies were done. Okay, how much? So similarly, there is kind of thing like that. If you remove all the vowels in a passage, also you'll be able to read it very well. Okay, so like all these things they have found, and then they have given measurements for each and every information. So that is all about the information theory. So information theory is a scientific study of the quantification, storage, and communication of digital information. Okay, so any information, the main thing is the quantification. You are giving a quantification or a measuring thing for an information. Okay, so now in the information theory, the main thing is the word comes is the entropy. Okay, so entropy in chemistry and this mechanical engineering, they have different kind of entropy. This in information theory, we have a different entropy. Okay, so in information theory, the entropy of a random variable is the average level of the information, surprise, or uncertainty. Okay, it's actually the calculation of information or the surprise or the uncertainty. Okay, or even simple words, if you have to say, it's a measure of the disorder of the system or the measure of randomness or measure of uncertainty. Uncertainty and surprise are same. Okay, how much the information carries a uncertainty, like whether I can do or not, and that, or like you have something some kind of uncertainty, right? Will it come or not? Is it possible or not? So like that in information also there is some amount of disorder or randomness or uncertainty. So this we measure. Sorry guys, some problem with the laptop, so I have to. You're able to hear me, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, so here, so we were with the entropy, right? So it's a measure of the disorder of the system, or measure of randomness, or measure of uncertainty. Okay, anyway, you can explain this entropy. So the entropy formula is, this is the basic formula. Okay, I'm giving everything in the basic, in the easiest way that you could understand. Okay, so this is the formula for entropy. So this E of S is represents the entropy. Okay, entropy of a system. Okay, so this entropy is equal to summation. So the summation, I think already I have explained what is summation when we were going through the linear regression, right? The summation means like we are adding the set of from now if it is like 0 to now this, see this how many numbers you have. Now if I have 0 to 3 values, you will be having 3 sets. So here it is minus pi log to pi. So this pi represents the probability. Okay, so now here this I can be here is the example is given from 1 to n is there. So here this formula we will be writing this to calculate the entropy. So here the example is given for playing golf. Okay, so here the S. Okay, so you are playing or you are not playing. Okay, that is the question. So if you are playing, the number of responses for S is 9 and the number of responses for no is 5. Okay, so here you have both responses, I mean two responses, and yes as 9 and no as 5. Now you are going to calculate the entropy. Okay, so here the entropy for playing golf is the S and the no, the entropy and S and no, the information which these both are giving. This measurement is what we call it as entropy. So here now, first when I take it, then S, okay, 9. So the probability will be 9 by totally 9 plus 5 is how much? 9 plus 5 is how much, yeah?
14, 14.
14. So okay, well, now probability will be what? Probability of S is what?
9 by
9,
14.
14.
Okay, calculate 9 by 14. Just put in your,
6.4 or something like that.
yeah, it will be 0.6. Okay, 9 by 14. So it will be like that. Okay, so here, so that is why here you are given 0.64. And then here this will be 5 by, and the probability of no will be 5 by 14. Okay, you will be getting 0.36. So now I am applying this in the formula. So these are two are my probabilities. Okay, so I have two probabilities. So I am applying in this formula. I am getting this minus 0.36 log 2. Okay, you have studied log, right? So log to the base 2. Okay, here it is base 2. Remember that. So when you apply that, you will be getting this value. Okay, so you have to take log to calculator. When you type in Google, you will get log to calculator, log to 0.36. You'll get a value and multiply with this. And similarly, this one and both, and here both are negative. So you'll be adding this, so you'll be getting a value 0.94. Okay, that is the measurement of the entropy. Okay, so this is a simple example for understanding entropy. Okay, so next is the next is the information gain. So you remember this word information gain? Somewhere just now I told you about information gain. Where did we come across the word information gain? So here in the ID3 algorithm, I told you that it uses information gain. And similarly in the C4 algorithm, I told you that it uses information gain or gain ratio. Okay, so that is what we are going to see here. What is information gain? So information gain is a reduction in the entropy or surprise by transforming a data set, and is often used in training decision trees. This is used in the training of the decision trees. Okay, so this information gain is calculated by combining the entropy of the data set before and after the transformation. So this is used in the reduction in the entropy. Okay, reduction in the entropy in the sense the reduction in the measurement of the disorder or surprise or uncertainty. So this information gain is usually calculated as this whole minus entropy or 1 minus entropy. So when you Google it, you will get the much more detail of the information gain, the calculations. So this is a very simple calculation, like information gain is equal to 1 minus entropy. You will be getting the information gain. Okay. And next is a gain ratio. So gain ratio is information gained by intrinsic information. Okay, so this gain ratio is like the successor of information gain. Little more like intrinsic, little more in depth we are taking. Okay, that is what the gain ratio. So this intrinsic information is defined as the entropy or sub data set proportions. In other words, it is how hard for us to guess in which branch a randomly selected sample is put into. Okay, these are all measurements. I told you first itself how I could measure an information. So this information is usually associated with like how much uncertainty is there in the information or how much disorder is there is in the information. So here this intrinsic information is also a measurement or how difficult it is to guess. That measurement is what the intrinsic information. Okay, so just remember this terms information and gain ratio. Okay, so this we are using it for the algorithms. So when we will implement some example, we will just check in detail. Okay, so now here next comes the parts of the decision trees. So the main parts of the decision trees will be nodes and branches. Okay, you have nodes and branches. Those are the main parts of a decision tree. So when it comes to the nodes, okay, when come to the nodes, you have decision nodes, chance nodes, end nodes. Okay, so this decision nodes is like representing a decision. Okay, so for representing a decision, we are using a decision node and it is usually shown with the square. Okay, so usually they prefer square for representing a decision. Next is the chance node. This represents the probability or uncertainty. So when there is like a chance, I'll show you in the diagram what is chance node. So this we represent the chance node. So this will be usually in the circle shape. Next is end node. The end node is representing an outcome. Okay, the outcome is the end node. The last end thing is the end node. This is the outcome. This is typically shown in the triangle. Okay, so the next branch is what you all know. This connecting the different nodes are called branches. So now here you can see a decision node. It is in square. And then here this chance node is given in the circle. So decision node, you have to see if the decision A or decision B, then the chances. Then comes the end node. Okay. This is the percentage of the chances. If this much a percentage, this would be the outcome. If this much a percent, this would be the outcome. If this is the chance, then this would be the outcome. So it's like that. Okay. So next is root nodes. So in this diagram, this blue decision node is also called the root node. Okay, so this decision node is also called a root node. This is always a first node of the path. Okay, so this decision node you can call it as root node also. So they will tell it as decision node or root node. These are the terminologies used in the decision tree usually. So when you Google it, you will some will be like a decision node or some will be like the root node. So that's the starting node will be the root node. The tree starting will be the root, right? So they have given it as root node. So now this is always the first node of the path. It is a node in which all other decision, chance and end nodes eventually branch. Okay, from the root node or from the decision node, or everything else starts branching. Next is the leaf nodes. Okay, the end nodes are also called as the leaf nodes. These show the end of the decision path. Okay, you can always identify leaf node because it doesn't split or branch further. Okay, that's a leaf node. Okay. So in some terminologies, they even refer this as the child node. Okay, the end node is also called as leaf node. Okay, usually they in machine learning they use end node or leaf nodes, but then sometimes in some other terminologies they used to represent even as a child node. Okay. So next is internal nodes. Between the root node and the leaf nodes, we can have any number of internal nodes. These can include decisions, chance nodes, and it's easy to identify an internal node. Each one has branches of its own while also connecting to the previous node. Okay, so the internal nodes are the nodes in between. It can be of anything. It can be another decision, another chance, or anything. Okay, then splitting, branching or splitting is what we call it when any node divides into two or more subnodes. These subnodes can be another internal node or they can lead to an outcome. Okay, so branching, all these are branching. So this is branching, and some from the decision node to the chance node we have branches, from the chance node to end nodes we have branches. Okay, so these are all the branching or splitting we call it. So for the branching and splitting only we will be calculating the entropy, information gain, all these things we'll be calculating. So next is a pruning. Okay, sometimes decision trees can grow quite complex. In these cases, they can end up giving too much weight to irrelevant data. Okay, so now the pruning in biology you would have studied. So when the plants are growing, then there is a step called pruning so that it will give a good outcome. Okay, similarly, this thing is also the same. Okay, the pruning is to avoid this problem. We can remove certain nodes using the process known as pruning. Okay, so like pruning is exactly what it sounds like. So if the tree grows branches we don't need, we simply cut them off. Okay, so in simple terms you are cutting off the branches, okay, which is not fruitful. Okay, so that is called pruning. Okay, so these are the basic terminologies used in the decision trees, right? So this is this is a decision I'm taking when someone is hungry. Okay, so now when someone is hungry, what can be done? Okay, so that is the basic thing. Okay, that's a basic decision I have to do. So this is a simple decision tree. So now hungry or not? Okay, so now whether I'm hungry or not, yes. So then I have to see, is it midday or not? So if it is a midday, the yes means then yeah, I have to eat lunch. Okay, so if it is no, is it after 6 p.m.? If it is yes, eat dinner. So if it is not after 6 p.m., then I should have a snack. Okay, so now then coming to the hungry or not part. If I'm not hungry, then what work to do? Okay, so work to do. So if there is a work to do, if it is yes, then do the work. If there is no work to do, then have you worked out? Okay, now yes, if I have worked out, if I have done, I am saying when I don't have any work, then if I had finished my work, if I am saying the answer yes, then I can watch TV or whatever you want, you can do it. Okay, so now here if it is like no, then I can now here they have just given a chance of rain. Okay, rain as a chance. Okay, so 70% chance of rain or 30% chance of rain. Okay, so here 70% chance of rain means I can go to the gym. 30% chance of rain is I can go for running. Okay, so this is a symbol representation of a decision tree. So now what happens over here is it's like actually I have to decide what to do when I'm hungry, but then there are some extra things also I have added, like when I'm not hungry what to do, and these chances, all this is not necessary to me. So what I will do, so I will do the pruning. So here, okay, so here our aim was to classify what to do in the event of being hungry. So that is my main event. So I am taking the decision tree to see what should I do when I'm hungry. So here what comes, here so many other data is also irrelevant data is also I am doing it. Okay, so now that is what called it as overfitting. By including options for what to do in the event of not being hungry, we have overcomplicated our decision tree. Cluttering a tree in this way is a common problem, especially when dealing with large amounts of data. It often results in the algorithm extracting meaning from irrelevant information. So this is known as overfitting. So from the irrelevant information, we are trying to take the information, and that is not going to help us to any way. So this kind of thing is called overfitting. Okay, so now what should I do with overfitting? I have to prune it out. So to fix the overfitting, I have to simply prune the tree. That is, I have to cut off the branches which I don't require. So the next step is that pruning. So when I prune, I will get my decision tree as this. It's a simple decision tree. So where I have the hungry or not, yes. So then I'm going, is it midday? So if it is no, then I'm not going to eat. Okay, so now is it a midday? Then yes, then eat lunch. Is it, if not, then I have to check whether it is after 6 p.m. If it is after 6 p.m., then yeah, I'm going to eat dinner. In other words, I'm going to have a snack. So it's a simple decision tree based on, we are working out for a hunger problem. What should I do when I am hungry? So this is how decision tree works. Getting the point? Or you are getting the idea of what is decision tree?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is a very basic thing how to do with a decision tree. So this decision tree, the main things you have to remember is the entropy, then information gain ratio. Okay, so and then the other terminologies is how you are representing a decision tree. So decision node, chance nodes, end nodes, or you will be having it as root node. Okay, so root node and leaf nodes. Okay, so then another terminology is overfitting and then pruning. Okay, so one of the problems with decision tree is overfitting. Sometimes what happens is in decision tree you will fit so much of data and such that you won't get the actual information you wanted. What would be the advantage of decision tree? I mean, normally when you see this decision tree, what would be the advantage? Anybody can guess? Any guesses for this decision tree? So in the first class or second class, I explained, right, what are the different roles in the data science. Like one thing is this machine learning, okay, where they will like algorithms are the plays a main part. But other than that, there are so many things relevant to data analysts, and then data visualizers where they will do data visualization. That is, whatever we have analyzed, they do the visualization. So why do you think that people go for that visualization? So already everything would have been analyzed, all the results would have been known. Then why should there be a visualization team? Or why should we visualize? I mean, here in the linear regression, I gave you the graph, right, for visualization. First result we found out the answer, but still we visualized the how the linear line is there. So why do we have that? To understand it better. So usually these graphs and bar graphs, you would have studied it, bar chart on all these things. So it's like visualization helps to understand better. So even if somebody don't understand what are the calculation being done, what is the measurement, what is the outcome, when they see, they may not get it very clearly, but then when they visualize, they get it very clearly. So what is it going? Okay, so that is a main point with visualization. So this decision trees, it's kind of a visualization algorithm. So it's the main advantage is it's easily understandable. And then another one thing is the data, when we pre-process the data, what we do is we have to take all the data which are irrelevant. So first is that we have to, in other algorithms, we will check it first itself. Okay, what are the things which are not needed? But in decision trees, we can actually keep on going. So here in this example also, I have done it, right? So whatever data available, I can actually put it in the decision tree. Okay, and next I can prune it. Okay, that is one of the advantage of the visualization is I need not spend so much time on designing, or I need not spend so much time on cleaning the data, or like why I need not spend so much time to distinguish which is relevant, irrelevant, all these things. Okay, I can go with a tree, and then I can decide, okay, this is not giving any information, so I can prune it off. Okay, so like that, some of the advantages are there, and the disadvantage would be because of not cleaning much in the first itself, I would have the disadvantage of overfitting. Sometimes if I don't recognize that this information is not needed, what happens is I will take the information of that also, which is not going to give me any relevant thing or anything fruitful. So what happens this, I will make my algorithm more complicated. Okay, so these are some of the disadvantages and advantages of the decision tree. So are you all clear with the basic concept of the decision tree?
Yes.
Okay, so just so today, I mean, I didn't do the implementation part, so you just go through this. Okay, go through the decision tree. Okay, revise the decision tree. That would be the task for you today. Anything else you want to ask?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Then okay, you can leave for today. Take care.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone.